Welcome back to the Wizard Shop. Here we have a car, we're getting cleaned up, we're going through it, make sure that everything's ready to go, and we're gonna sell it, get rid of it. I own this car, and I would rather not, and here's why. This is a 2002 Mazda Millenia. It has the small V6 in it. I think it's a 2.5. And there's a story behind this car. A lot of you made comments in the comments section on videos. The Wizard must be swimming in money. It must be heavenly or dreamly to run your own business. And for the most part, it is very fun, very rewarding. But there are some big pitfalls dealing with some people out there. I'd say 95% of the customers I have are wonderful. There's a few that I've had to actually fire. And believe it or not, a shop owner not only can fire his employees, can fire his customers. And I've had to do that a few times, unfortunately. I'd rather not. And like I said here in the opening scene, I now own this car. And I really don't like this car. I would rather not have this car. Now I'm going to tell you the story, how I came about owning this thing. It starts and runs just fine. Got 166,000 miles on it. It's been sitting for months because I don't even like to look at it. And it just starts up every time. It will be a good car for someone when we go to sell it. If the AC works, the heater works, everything works. But now onto the story of how I came about this car. A guy that used to work for me, who no longer does, had a friend who was kind of in a bind. He said, hey, my friend, he's got a new baby on the way, or I think he even there was a new baby in the family. His car, the water pump's spewing antifreeze out of it. This is a timing belt type water pump. And they're in a bind. They can't get to work, you know, and they gave me the story, the whole full story, and I fell for it. I felt sorry for him. So I got an estimate together, the timing belt, the water pump, the coolant, and there was some other things he wanted us to look at, power steering. It was going to be $900 or $1,000 for everything that he wanted done. So I called him and said, hey, this is what it is. It's going to be blah, 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 $900 or $1,000. He said, good, I've got the money saved up. Everything's good to go. I'd go ahead and do it. I got to have my car fixed. You've got the go ahead. And that's when the trouble began. Fixing the car went well. We got the timing belt and the water pump replaced. The power steering works great. We put a new battery on it. We didn't have any trouble fixing it at all. The trouble was when the phone call, when I called and said, hey, your car drives, it runs great, it's ready to go, it's ready to be picked up. He said, okay, I'll be there Friday. And brace yourself, guys, this is kind of a long story. It's kind of crazy. So I parked the car inside the shop and waited for him to show up Friday to pay the bill. Friday came and went. The guy didn't show up. So I called Monday. Said, hey, your car's been ready, man, and just seeing what your plans are. Oh, so he says something came up. I don't have the money now. I actually don't have any money right now. I was like, well, you said you had $900 or had the price, you had the money. Yeah, well, I don't now. He said he'd give me a couple weeks, I'll get the money together and I'll come and get it. Okay. So I waited 2 weeks. And I called him, and after a couple of weeks, and he said, I still don't have the money. He said, will you take payments until I can get it paid off, $100 a week? I said, I know, I'm not a bank. I'm not a financial institution. The agreement was that I fix your car, I make your car running and driving and reliable again, and I have done so. The car's ready to go. You haven't fulfilled your end of the bargain to pay for the bill. Well, he says, yeah, I know. I just, you can't get blood from a turnip. I don't have the money. I can give you $100 a week. Take it or leave it. And reluctantly, I took it. Okay, I'll take your money. He showed up that day or the day after with $150. And I thought, well, maybe I will finally get paid out of this deal. Every Friday, he was supposed to show up with $100, $150, whatever he could afford at that point. So one Friday came and went, no money. The next Friday came and went. I haven't heard a word from him. So I called him again on Monday. What's going on, guy? I thought we talked about, paying your payments, or I haven't heard from you. All of a sudden, everything changed. As if it's not bad enough already, this guy made it worse. And it continues to get worse as the story goes on. It's just a flaky guy. He says, the price is too high. That's too much. That is way too high of a price. I said, well, that was what we agreed upon. The $1,000 or roughly it was going to be, and that's where we're at. I didn't exceed the budget. I didn't exceed what I talked to you about. And for the list of repairs that you wanted done, it's a very fair price. There's nothing wrong with it. You wouldn't probably find a better price anywhere else. I actually kept the price a little low for you because I feel sorry for you. I'm trying to help you out as it is. He says, yeah, I never okayed $1,000. I was like, wait a minute, you did over the phone. You told me it was okay. Go ahead for the job. The money's there. No, he says, no, it's too much. I didn't okay that. I'm not going to pay it. Okay, I still have your car. I kind of, at the moment, I went silent on the phone and I'm like, what do I do here? I actually called Hoovy. Hoovy was in the car business for a long time. He's dealt with this stuff. With his father's business, he does executive type work. He knows business. He knows business. You guys think he's dumb on his videos. He's not dumb. He's not the slightest bit dumb. So I called him up. I said, what do I do here? What in the world? This is getting crazy. How did it get this far? He said, Wizard, this is one of those rare occurrences that it's sad that it happens. You're probably going to have to take this man's car out from under him and legally take ownership of the car. You're going to have to take his car away from him. And I was like, wow. This guy's he's already in a lot of trouble. I'm trying to be helpful to him. I hate to have to take that avenue. He said, Wizard, if you don't, there's no other way to recoup your losses. There will be no other way. If you're ready to lose that money, then lose it, or take the car from him. I told Hoovy, I said, I've got a water pump, a timing belt, and the job itself is $600 or $800. I've got power steering hose, I've got belts, I've got a battery, and I just went on and listed all the parts, and he was like, yeah, I know, you've got money into these parts. And I told him, I said, the accounts I have with my parts people, they don't care if the customer paid or not. The money is due at the end of the month. I had to come out of pocket with every penny of that, out of my pocket. It was supposed to come out of his pocket because it's his car. I ended up having to pay for everything. I had to pay the guy that did the work. I had to pay his payroll. He did the work, so I paid him for his time out of the shop's pocket. So anyways, on with the story of this guy and how crazy it went. I took Hoovy's advice. I called the guy back up. I called his bluff at first. I said, you're right. You know what? The price is too high. $700. Come here tomorrow with the money. You can have your car. I'll take a great, huge percentage off to try to help you. I already knew in the back of my mind that wasn't going to fly. I already knew that. But I was calling the guy's bluff. He says, and finally he says, I'll have to call you back. Okay, so he calls me back at the end of the day. He says, yeah, that's still too high. I don't have that. I said, okay, so the price isn't the issue because of whether it's a fair price or not. It's the fact that it's too high simply because you don't have the money. Yeah, he says, that's right. I said, my shop's prices and what I charge is not based on your income. It's based on the work performed and the parts prices. Finally, weeks went by, I haven't gotten any money. And I remember what Hoovie said. You're going to have to take the car out from under him. I didn't want to do it. I didn't get into this business to take people's cars from them. I hate to have to do that. I don't like it. But I did. I got all the legal stuff together. I got with the state of Kansas. The state of Kansas, I called them and they said I can put a lien on the vehicle, a mechanic's lien on the title. And since I have possession of the car, once that goes through and I get the lien in the mail and everything goes, I can legally sell the vehicle to recoup losses. And if there's anything left over that I'm supposed to give to the guy, the owner of the car, well, there wouldn't have been nothing left over. The car's not even hardly worth that. But, so I got the process done. I went legally. I did this all legal, legit. I called the guy up and said, hey, this is enough. I'm done with you. I've been over backwards, not once, twice, probably 5 times for you to try to help you. I said, it's no more leniency. It's time to cough the money up or do something. So I told him, I said, you've got 14 days, which is the Kansas law. You've got 14 days to come up with the money, or I'm putting a mechanic's lien on your title, and I'm selling your car. And boy, he came unglued. He cussed me out. You can't do that. You can't take my car. I said, I'd already contacted the state of Kansas, and they said, yes, I can. It's fully legal. I've already got the paper. I told him, I've already got the paperwork filed, and they approved it. It's already done, fella. It's time to pay up, or you lose your car. And he cussed and got mad and blah, blah, blah. And finally, I don't like to do this either. This just happens maybe once a year. But I totally went smooth off on the guy. I said, the only injustice that has happened here is your injustice against me. I've been gracious. I've been patient. I've tried to work with you. I said, you have ripped me off. I have not ripped you off. I said, I have a car that runs and drives, ready to present to you as soon as the payment comes. I said, how is that me ripping you off? Of course, he got mad and he hung up. A few days later, he called my office guy up and said, if I bring the title, can I have my $150 back that I paid you? And I was just, what? It just totally blew my mind. Can I have a refund? You haven't even paid your bill. You don't, I was just, it gets worse, guys. It gets worse. Finally, I said, you know what? If I had the title, that would make this even easier. So I told him, bring the title. Bring it on up. I'll give you your money back. He did. I gave him his money. I got the title, and off he went. So I figured that was that, and it was done. The title was, he hadn't even registered yet. It was blank on the title. The car actually sat longer in my shop waiting for him than he actually owned it. So, you know, I thought, well, this is over with. It's done. I can get this thing sold now. No, the guy calls me up and says, you gave me a bad check. I wrote him a check. He gave me a bad check. I need cash. But I'd already seen on my account that the check cleared. So I called him up and I said, the check cleared, and it even has a picture of your signature on it. Oh, no, that wasn't me. I said, you're not getting any money, guy. I said, take it to court. I have your car. I'm going to sell it. I gave you your money. It's over. Then he proceeds to go around town, in the town that I live nearby, and tell everybody that he knows, friends and family, how I'm a hack job. I'm a horrible mechanic. I did very, very poor repairs on his car. I called him one last time, and I cussed him out. I said, how do you know whether I did good or bad repairs? You haven't even received your car back. I called him all kinds of names. I shouldn't have. But he ran me into the ground, and I have done nothing wrong. So yes, this turned out to be kind of a gripe session. I know you guys don't like the gripe sessions, but the reason why I did this video It's just for the commenters that think that this is all roses, I'm swimming in money, and this is just hunky-dory, living the dream, and it's not always that way. It actually can be very difficult, makes you want to punch a hole in the wall, angering.
Hey, Car Wizard, is that why there's holes in the wall some places around here?
No, that's actually from forklifts. When this used to be a factory, they would have material stacked on the wall and they just run their forklifts into the insulation over decades. And someday we're going to get that replaced, but I'm not putting 50 grand into insulation right now. They just have to sit. So I'm going to have this thing for sale finally. I've worked up the nerve to get this thing cleaned up, go through it, put it out on for sale and get my money back and be done with it. So let's take a look at it. It's not very pretty, but it runs and drives. It runs and drives fine. So it's a great high school car. If a kid needs to go back and forth to work or he's working at McDonald's or something, this would be perfect. It's a good, reliable car. I'm sad the guy couldn't pay his bill and get his car, but again, that's the way it is in this business. It's not always roses and fun and happy days and sunshine. There are days of clouds and anger and unhappiness. So anyways, let's take a look at it. There it is in all its glory, guys. Little V6, new timing belt, new water pump. Got these horrible filters I don't like on them. I typically don't work on this type of a car in this condition anymore. I've gotten out of it, and this is the very reason. Just because of what I went through for this. It doesn't take very much on a car like this to exceed the value of the entire car, fixing it. And when that happens, people tend to not want to pay. They're like, oh my God, I can buy another car for that. Well, when that scenario keeps happening and happening for these types of cars in this condition, I typically get a bad taste in my mouth. I don't even want to work on them. People come, I got a 92 Ford Ranger and blah, 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 it's head gasket. I'm like, no thanks. Well, why won't you fix it? Because it's going to cost more than the whole truck's worth. Oh, it's that high, huh? What do you mean high? $1,000 for a head gasket. It's going to need a timing belt. We're not putting the old timing belt on. And you know, and it goes and goes, and it always ends up, there's so much more wrong than just the head gasket. You can't put it back together with a bunch of broken, rigged stuff that somebody else in the past did, and now you're stuck with it. Now you own it. It's best, just for me, it's best to not even step on this grenade. I don't step on them anymore. So you guys are going to see this thing on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. We're going to get this thing out of here. Again, I don't put this video out to down you guys. I'm just outlining the steps involved that I had to go through, and some of the things as a business owner that I've had to do, and Tyler has his stories of things he's had to do. It's just unreal. Just like in the previous video, I had all kinds of cool tools and tips I showed you guys. If there's any tools you're interested in, check my Amazon affiliates. I have tools for sale. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, go ahead and do that. There's many more cool videos to come. Like I said, we're in 4K. We got better audio now. On the last video, I'm getting all kinds of compliments. Wonderful video, wonderful sound. So I'm real happy for that. So I look forward to many more videos with you guys, and thanks for watching.